no African company has ever been listed in the global Fortune 500. Comparatively, the smallest company in the global Fortune 500 reports annual revenues of $25 billion, which is 2 times larger than most of Africa's biggest corporations' turnover today. Africa's GDP has grown at an average of 4% since 2000. However, at 2.6 trillion, the GDP of our entire continent is still smaller than that of some advanced economies. It is hence crucial that African companies consider global market opportunity to truly scale into large corporations that can cross the $25 billion revenue mark. We asked, what sectors hold the greatest promise for African corporations to become global champions? We started by looking at 57 sectors to understand what business sectors in the world have a compelling market size and growth rate. We identified 6 sectors where African businesses have an opportunity to shine in terms of availability of the right human capital and non-labor resources on our continent. One of the biggest drivers of growth in the multi-billion-dollar food market is the rise of the health-conscious consumer. This presents a great opportunity given Africa's vast arable lands. For example, corporations can strategically market and export sorghum. In 2018, its total trade value exceeded $1 billion. The renewable energy market is worth $257 billion and is growing at 4% annually. A net total of 734 gigawatts of solar power will be added worldwide by the end of 2029. Africa is one of the sunniest continents in the world, as 85% of African land receives more than 2,000 kilowatt hours of solar energy per square meter per year. This presents an opportunity for Africa to leverage on its climate to produce and export solar energy to the rest of the world. The demand for ecotourism is rising, with over 55% of global travelers indicating their preference to sustainable travel choices. Despite the challenges that COVID-19 has ravaged on the travel industry, we believe that in the long run, Africa can leverage on its position as one of the early leaders of ecotourism to become a hub for sustainable tourism. For example, Botswana's Green Safaris has created over 70,000 direct and indirect jobs in the country. In the 2 decades since 1990, Sub-Saharan Africa has also succeeded in attracting 5 times more visitors than they did in the 1990s. As businesses become more open to outsourcing, Africa can export its dynamic human resource. Fulfilling 1% of the global demand of staffing and business process outsourcing could create about 120,000 jobs in Africa. Specifically, data services could be interesting for Africa because of its high growth rate and the upskilling opportunity it offers for young African workers. The chemical industry has a global market size of $2 trillion, growing at 11% per annum. As demand for food rises, so does demand for agrochemicals that boost agricultural productivity. African companies can capitalize on Africa's vast reserves of mineral and gas resources needed to produce fertilizers such as urea for export and domestic use. Finally, there is an unprecedented growth in the percentage of aging population throughout the world, particularly in growing economies such as Europe, Japan, and China. There were 703 million persons aged 65 years or over in the world in 2019, and this is projected to double to 1.5 billion in 2050. As more than 70% of elders in the US have smartphones, there's an opportunity to create a remote care platform through which African caretakers can partake in this $2,000 billion industry, providing virtual assistance to elderly patients. AFG was founded to become a platform for the elevation of African companies and people into global champions. Are you ready to build with us?